I want to call you guys out in today's video. A lot of you guys, you dress like shit. You dress like you've given up, like you can't be asked. And it affects the way that you feel. Absolutely it does. When I used to dress like shit, I felt like shit. And when you feel like shit, you don't do shit. You don't think highly of yourself. You don't think you can take on tasks that are out of your comfort zone. And as a result, you just remain a bum. Now, when you change the way that you treat yourself, and when I say the way that you treat yourself, I mean, first of all, physically, how do you look? Are you out of shape? If you're out of shape, that's a huge problem. Because if you're out of shape, let's just say you're obese, or even if you're extremely skinny, then you won't really look good in clothes anyways. So you need to address the way that you look, your physical appearance, right? There's no tailoring that will work for a guy who's obese. I don't care if you get your suits made in Savile Row. If you're obese, you're going to look shit in a suit. It will look like you're wearing a costume. I'm just keeping it real. And look, we all start somewhere. You know, my first suit was actually a mix and match between my dad's blazer and some trousers that I had lying around. This was like when I was 19, 18. I still have a picture somewhere on my phone. I looked awful, but I didn't know much about tailoring. And, you know, I've mentioned this before, the 3 Fs, fit, fabric, and function. I learned this from a gentleman called Real Men, Real Style on YouTube many, many years ago. And, you know, if your attire doesn't fit well, it'll look awful. It just will. Fabric. The fabric is something you have to pay attention to. It depends on where you live in the world. Some of you guys live in hot climates, in which case you wearing a cashmere or an alpaca wool suit will not be a good idea. And so I would stick to the linens if I was you, if you live in a hot climate. Because people always say to me, well, Ali, it's easier for you to say. You live in a climate where, you know, you can layer up. And I'm like, well, bro, listen. Even when it was 35 degrees Celsius here in the UK, I was still wearing suits, but lighter fabrics. And the last thing is, the last F is function. So obviously don't be wearing, for example, a tuxedo day to day, because it just looks a little bit out of place. It's more so for formal dinners or weddings, okay? So look, you got to take yourself seriously. When you take yourself seriously, when you treat yourself with respect, other people will treat you with respect. Remember, you don't get a second chance at a first impression. You don't. You don't. Ensure that whoever you meet for the first time leaves that conversation with you thinking, wow, that guy is a fucking smooth operator. I mean, who does that these days? Who wears a suit these days on a Tuesday afternoon or even on a Saturday morning? Who goes to a coffee shop wearing a nice suit? Rarely anybody does it. I was at this Italian place last week with my parents, and I was wearing my olive green suit, and a gentleman that was sat next to me commented. He said, hey, listen, I got to say, young man, you look incredible. You know, nowadays, you wearing a suit at this time of the day makes people question you. Where are you going? You going to a wedding? You going to a... People will say something because they're not accustomed to seeing it anymore, which is sad, because a suit is a timeless item of clothing, right? It never goes out of fashion. Now, look, you can make it more casual, so you can wear a blazer, for example, and some chinos, or some, you know, different colored trousers. I like my Gurkha trousers. Search them up. Ghurka, high-waisted trousers. And I mix and match sometimes. It doesn't have to be the full suit every time. Although I do love wearing a full suit, different color. This is my tobacco brown color, combined with a black shirt. Looks very elegant and very mafia boss-like, right? But, you know, I want you guys to embrace it. Look, it'll take some getting used to. If you've been wearing Slazenger tracksuits and Umbro tracksuits, whatever, making that adjustment may feel a little bit strange in the beginning, right? But, you know, you'll get used to it, and you'll notice people will start complimenting you a lot more. You'll get a lot more attention from the ladies as well, because they love a man in a good suit, I tell you that. And combine a good suit with some nice fragrance, and you're going to have them weak at the knees. But the most important thing is that you dress well for yourself, because you want to treat yourself with respect. Dressing well is an act of self-respect. It is. You allowing your body to deteriorate and get to a position where you're 45% body fat, obese, you allowing yourself to just look like a stick insect, that's a problem. Now, I get it. Genetics have a lot to play in this, but do your best to eat a good diet and to fill in your clothes a little bit. When I say fill in, I don't mean get obese and tear the fucking clothes apart. No. Like the Incredible Hulk. No, that's not what we're saying here. You know, the Italian sort of approach when it comes to tailoring is how I like to dress. You know, even when it comes to bodybuilding, you know, a lot of bodybuilders that are enormous don't really look well in suits. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't pursue bodybuilding, but, you know, have a functional body that allows you to lift heavy and also be flexible, be able to run. And in doing so, you'll fit nicely in a suit. And look, when it comes to where to buy suits from, it's a question I get all the time. Suit Supply is a great place. It's an off-the-rack solution. They do also have a custom section to their business as well, where you can basically create a suit from scratch, which is more premium. But usually their suits are around £500, $500, which is a fair price considering that, you know, it's not a completely bespoke solution off the rack. Their bespoke options are in the thousands, potentially over 1,000. It can get to 2,000 if, you know, you select a premium fabric. But you know, Suit Supply is a good option. Another place I buy my suits from is Albert Clothing. Charles Tyrwhitt is a good place as well if you're just getting in. Charles Tyrwhitt is a lot cheaper. Their suits are around the £300 mark, 250. And you'll learn a lot about suits, and I'll make some more videos going forward about clothing as well. You know, for example, the type of lapels. This is referred to as a lapel. I like my lapels wide. It just makes your chest look broader, and I just like it. I prefer it to a thinner lapel, because there's some lapels that are like this wide, which I don't really like. I prefer them to be wider. Okay? And so I'll make videos in detail going into the different types of lapels and, you know, the colors that work well together. But I want you just to ingrain this in your mind, fellas. Dress your best, because you'll feel better. You'll be treated better. You'll attract opportunities. Just do it, man. Don't tell me, oh, Ali, I don't want to wear suits. They're not comfortable. You don't have to wear them every day if that makes you uncomfortable, but at least one day a week. And I would say, not even for work, I would say do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. Just put on a suit, apply some nice fragrance, go about your day. You'll notice how people look. And I see couples oftentimes walking together and the man's dressed like shit. And when I walk past, the woman's eyeing me up, because I present myself well and her man looks like a piece of shit. Not that I want to take her away from him, but I mean, you can't help but notice that women admire this stuff. And especially when you smell good, which I also do as well. You know, my fragrance collection is coming up to about 30 fragrances right now. That's quite a bit. So dress your best. Become the best dressed man that you know. Just watch how everything changes for you, man. Watch. You'll thank me later. I want to set you guys a challenge. Wear a suit this Saturday. Put on a good suit. Send me a message on Instagram. Show me what your suit looks like. I'll make some comments if you want. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next one.